My girlfriend ordered, "Co-sign my dad's business loan, or there's no future for us." I replied, "Then there's no future." I walked away and said nothing. Months later, she co-signed for him herself. And when the bank took her car for his unpaid loan, her first text to me was, I, 31, male, sat across from Sarah, 29, in the restaurant where we'd had our first date 3 years ago. She slid a folder across the table. Inside was a loan application for $95,000. Her father's name was at the top. The business description read, "Restaurant expansion and equipment upgrade." Her father's restaurant, the one that had filed for bankruptcy twice in the last decade. "He needs a co-signer," Sarah said. Her voice was calm, like she was asking me to pick up groceries. "The bank won't approve it without one." I stared at the page. 2 prior bankruptcies. Current debt load, $140,000. Projected revenue, optimistic at best. "You want me to co-sign this?" I said. "I need you to," she corrected. "Dad's dream depends on it. Our future depends on it." I looked up. "What does that mean?" She didn't blink. "It means if you won't do this for my family, there's no point in us continuing." 3 years. Vacations, plans, a drawer at each other's apartments. All of it now conditional on my signature on a document that screamed financial suicide. I closed the folder. I stood. I said 4 words. "Then there's no future." I walked out. I didn't argue. I didn't explain. I didn't answer the 17 calls that came in the next 2 hours. Months later, her car was gone. My phone lit up at 2 in the morning. The text started with, "You were right." Sarah and I had been together since June of 2021. We met through mutual friends at a rooftop bar in Brooklyn. She was smart, funny, ambitious. She worked in marketing. I worked in finance. We fit. Her father, though, that was always complicated. Michael owned a small Italian restaurant in Queens. It had been open since 2003. In 2008, it filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. In 2016, it filed again. Both times, family money kept it alive. Sarah's mother had a trust fund. Her brother kicked in $20,000 after the second bankruptcy. Michael never changed his approach. Same menu, same overhead, same refusal to adapt. Sarah loved her dad. I got that. But she also defended him when the facts didn't support it. In early 2023, Michael started talking about expansion. He wanted to open a second location, upgrade equipment, hire more staff. He talked about it at family dinners. He showed me architectural sketches on his phone. He asked my opinion on lease terms. I was polite. I asked careful questions. What's the projected break-even timeline? How are you modeling the debt service? He'd wave his hand. Numbers work themselves out when you have the right vision. That should have been my first warning. By summer, the expansion talk got serious. Michael approached a bank. They required a business plan. He hired someone to write one. It projected $200,000 in first-year revenue for the new location. That number had no basis in reality. His current restaurant barely cleared $70,000 in profit after expenses. Sarah started mentioning the loan in passing. "Dad's really excited about this. It's finally happening." I didn't comment. I'd learned that silence was safer than disagreement when it came to Michael. Then one night in September, we were at her apartment. She was cooking. I was setting the table. She said, "The bank needs a co-signer." I stopped mid-motion, fork in hand. "For what?" "For Dad's loan. They won't approve it without one." I put the fork down. "How much is the loan?" $95,000. I felt my stomach drop. "Sarah, your dad's business has filed for bankruptcy twice. That was years ago. The second time was 7 years ago. That's not ancient history." She turned off the stove. Her voice got tight. "He's learned from his mistakes." "Has he? What's different this time?" "He has a plan. He has support. He has family who believes in him." I recognized the shift. This wasn't about the loan anymore. This was about loyalty. "Who's he asking to co-sign?" I asked. She hesitated. Then she said, "He was hoping you would." I stared at her. "Me? You have good credit. You work in finance. The bank would approve it if you co-signed." I shook my head. "Sarah, if the bank won't approve him without a co-signer, that's the bank telling you the loan is too risky. Or it's the bank being overly cautious. It's the bank doing their job." She crossed her arms. "So that's a no. That's a no." She didn't speak to me for the rest of the night. I left at 10. She didn't text. But the loan conversation wasn't over. It was just beginning. 3 days later, Sarah called. Her voice was warmer. She suggested dinner. I agreed. We met at the same Italian place where her father worked. Michael waved from the kitchen. Sarah ordered for both of us. Halfway through the meal, she brought it up again. I know you're worried about the loan, she said. But I've been thinking, if we're serious about a future together, we need to support each other's families. I set down my fork. Supporting family doesn't mean co-signing loans for businesses that have failed twice. They didn't fail. They restructured. Sarah, bankruptcy is failure. That's what the word means. She leaned forward. My dad made mistakes, but he's worked hard to rebuild. He deserves a chance. He said chances. 2 of them. Her jaw tightened. So you think he should just give up? I think he should get a loan on his own merit. If the bank won't approve him, maybe that's a sign. Or maybe the bank is wrong. I looked at her. Why me? Why not your mom? She's bailed him out before. Her trust fund is tied up in estate restrictions. She can't access the kind of liquid credit the bank needs. What about your brother? His credit took a hit during his divorce. The bank won't accept him. I felt a chill. So I'm the last option. You're the best option. Sarah, if your mom's money is restricted and your brother's credit is damaged, that should tell you something. This loan is high risk. She pushed her plate away. I'm asking you to believe in my family. I'm asking you to look at the facts. She stood. I need to use the restroom. She was gone for 10 minutes. When she came back, her eyes were red. She sat down and said, My dad asked me to give you this. She handed me a printed document. It was the loan application. At the bottom, there was a highlighted section. It read, Co-signer liability. In the event of default, co-signer assumes full responsibility for outstanding balance, accrued interest, and associated fees. I read it twice. He wants me to know I'd be legally responsible if he doesn't pay. He wants you to know he's serious. He wouldn't ask if he didn't believe he could pay it back. Belief isn't a business model. She took the paper from my hands. Her voice dropped. If you won't do this, I don't know if we can keep going. I looked at her. Are you saying what I think you're saying? I'm saying I need to know you're committed. To me. To us. To my family. By risking my financial future. By showing you trust me. I sat back. The restaurant felt smaller. The walls closer. I said, I need time to think. She nodded. Okay. But her face said something different. It said, the clock is ticking. I left that night knowing the decision wasn't really about time. It was about whether I'd choose my future or hers. 2 weeks later, she texted, We need to talk. Tomorrow, 7 p.m. I knew what was coming. The ultimatum wasn't hypothetical anymore. It was real. We met at the same restaurant from the first chapter. Sarah chose the location deliberately. I knew that. She arrived 5 minutes early. I arrived exactly on time. She already had the folder on the table when I sat down. I'm not going to drag this out, she said. I need an answer tonight. I nodded. Okay. She opened the folder. Inside was the loan application, a printed credit report with my name on it, and a co-signer agreement form. Everything was filled out except my signature. This is it, she said. This is what my dad needs. What we need. I scanned the documents. The loan amount, $95,000. Term, 7 years. Monthly payment, $1,480. Interest rate, 8.2%. I looked at the business plan summary. Projected revenue, $200,000 in year 1. Projected expenses, $160,000. That left $40,000 in projected profit. After debt service, taxes, and unexpected costs, the margin was razor thin. One bad quarter, and the whole thing collapsed. Sarah, I said, if this business doesn't hit these projections, someone is paying $17,000 a year for 7 years. That's $119,000 total. It'll work, she said. And if it doesn't, then we figure it out. No, I said. If it doesn't, I'm legally responsible. The bank comes after me. My credit is destroyed. My savings are drained. I could lose my apartment. She shook her head. You're catastrophizing. I'm reading the contract. She leaned forward. Do you love me? I blinked. What? Do you love me? She repeated. Because if you do, this should be easy. Love doesn't make bad debt disappear. Her voice hardened. My family supported me through college. They helped me start my career. They've been there for every major moment in my life. This is one thing. One signature. One signature that could ruin me financially. She sat back. So that's your answer. I took a breath. I won't co-sign this loan. She stared at me. For 5 seconds, neither of us moved. Then she said, Then there's nothing left to talk about. I stood. I pulled my wallet out, left $40 on the table for my untouched water, and said, "Then there's no future." I walked out. Behind me, I heard her chair scrape. She called my name once. I didn't turn around. My phone started ringing at 9:47 p.m. Sarah. I didn't answer. She called again at 10:03, then 10:15, then 10:42. At 11:08, she texted, "We need to talk about this like adults." I didn't reply. At 11:34, "You're throwing away 3 years over a piece of paper." I turned my phone off. The next morning, I had 12 missed calls. For voicemails, I deleted them without listening. Sarah's best friend, Emily, texted me that afternoon. "I don't know what happened, but Sarah is devastated. Can you at least talk to her?" I wrote back, "It's between Sarah and me." Emily replied, "She says you abandoned her family." I didn't respond. 2 days later, Sarah sent one final message. "I thought you were different." I was wrong. I blocked her number. I blocked her on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. I removed her from my emergency contacts. I returned the spare key to her apartment by mail. I didn't hear from her for 4 months. In that time, I focused on work. I went to the gym. I read books I'd been putting off. I reconnected with friends I'd neglected. I didn't think about Sarah. I didn't check her social media. I didn't ask mutual friends how she was doing. I moved on. But the story wasn't over. Because financial consequences don't care about heartbreak. Update January 1st, 2024. For months after the breakup, I was at a coffee shop near my office when I ran into Emily, Sarah's best friend. She looked uncomfortable the moment she saw me. I nodded. She nodded back. Then she walked over. "Hey," she said. "Hey." She shifted her weight. "I wasn't going to say anything, but I think you should know. Sarah co-signed the loan." I felt my chest tighten. When? October. A week after you two broke up. I set my coffee down. "She co-signed $95,000 for her father." Emily nodded. She said she had to. That it was her responsibility since you wouldn't do it. I stared at the table. "How's the restaurant doing?" Emily bit her lip. "Not great. They opened the second location in November. It's been slow." "How slow?" "I don't know the details. But Sarah's been stressed." She mentioned something about missed payments. My stomach dropped. "The loan payments?" "I think so." I didn't ask anything else. Emily left a minute later. I sat there for 20 minutes, coffee going cold, staring at nothing. That night, I did something I'd promised myself I wouldn't do. I checked Sarah's Instagram. Her last post was from December 23rd, a photo of her at her father's new restaurant. The caption read, "So proud of this man and everything he's built. Dreams really do come true." The comments were supportive. Friends congratulating her dad. Family members posting heart emojis. But I noticed something. Her car wasn't in any of the recent photos. She used to post pictures of it constantly. A silver Honda Accord she'd bought 2 years ago. She loved that car. Now nothing. I closed Instagram. February 9th, 2024. I was leaving work when my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. But something made me pick up. "Hello. Is this?" The voice hesitated. "Is this Jake?" I recognized her voice immediately. "Sarah?" "Yeah." She sounded exhausted. "I'm sorry for calling. I know you blocked me." I stopped walking. "How did you get this number?" "Emily gave it to me. I asked her not to, but I was desperate." I waited. "I need to tell you something," she said. Her voice cracked. "The bank took my car." I felt my pulse quicken. "What?" "Dad's loan. He missed 3 payments. The bank sent letters. We tried to catch up, but the late fees piled up. Then they sent a final notice. 2 weeks ago, they repossessed my car." I closed my eyes. "Sarah, I co-signed. That means I'm responsible. They took my car to cover part of the debt. How much does he owe?" $89,000. Plus fees. The total is $96,000 now. I felt a weight in my chest. Not sympathy. Something else. Relief, maybe. That it wasn't my car. My credit. My life. "Why are you telling me this?" I asked. She was quiet for a long moment. Then she said, "Because you were right." I didn't respond. "I should have listened," she continued. "I should have looked at the facts. I should have said no." "Why didn't you?" "Because he's my dad. Because I thought loyalty meant saying yes. Because I thought." She trailed off. "You thought I was wrong," I finished. "Yeah." I stood on the sidewalk, phone pressed to my ear, watching taxis pass. "I can't help you," I said. "I know. If you're calling to ask me to co-sign something else, or lend you money, or fix this, I can't. I'm not asking for that. Her voice was small. I just wanted you to know. You tried to warn me. I didn't listen. I took a breath. I'm sorry this happened to you. Me too. She hung up. I stood there for 5 more minutes, phone still in my hand. Then I walked home. But the story wasn't finished. Because when a loan defaults, one car repossession is just the beginning. Update 2-3 days after Sarah's phone call, Emily texted me. I think you should know what's happening. It's bad. I called her. Sarah's credit score dropped 140 points, Emily said. She applied for an apartment last week. They rejected her. Because of the loan? The default shows up on her credit report. Plus the repossession. Landlords see that and assume she's high risk. I felt a knot form in my stomach. Not for me. For her. There's more, Emily continued. Her dad closed the second restaurant location. It was only open for 3 months. 3 months. He couldn't cover the rent and the loan payments. He tried to renegotiate with the landlord, but they kicked him out. Now he's focused on keeping the original restaurant afloat. Is he making the loan payments? Emily's voice dropped. No. He told Sarah he can't. He said the business needs the money more than the bank does. I sat down. He's prioritizing his failing business over the loan his daughter co-signed. Yeah. What did Sarah say? She tried to talk to him. He told her it's temporary, that he just needs a few more months to stabilize. But he won't stabilize. I know that. You know that. Sarah's starting to realize it too. February 21st, 2024. Sarah called again. Different number. The bank sent a demand letter, she said. No greeting. No preamble. To who? To me. They're holding me responsible for the full balance. $96,000 plus another $4,000 in fees and interest. $100,000. Yeah. I heard her breathing on the other end. Shaky. Uneven. They gave me 30 days to pay or they'll pursue legal action. What does legal action mean? Wage garnishment. Liens on any property I own. They can take me to court. I rubbed my forehead. Can your dad pay? He says he can't. He says the restaurant is barely surviving. And your mom? She offered $10,000. That's all she can access right now without penalties on the trust. So you're on your own. Yeah. Her voice broke. I'm on my own. I didn't know what to say. I called you because I don't know what else to do, she said. I'm not asking for money. I'm not asking you to fix this. I needed someone to hear it. I'm sorry, Sarah. I know you are. She paused. I also know you told me this would happen. I didn't want to be right. I know. We sat in silence for 10 seconds. I have to go, she said. Thank you for listening. She hung up. That night, I looked up co-signer liability laws. Once you sign, you're locked in. If the primary borrower defaults, the lender can pursue the co-signer for the full amount. Sarah's signature on that document made her legally responsible for every dollar her father refused to pay. The bank didn't care about family dynamics. They cared about the contract. And Sarah had signed it. But the collapse wasn't over yet. Because when someone defaults on a loan this big, the consequences don't stop at one demand letter. Update March 3rd, 5th, 2024. I was at lunch when an unknown number called. I debated ignoring it. Then I answered. Jake. A man's voice. Not Sarah. Who is this? This is Michael. Sarah's father. I felt my jaw tighten. Why are you calling me? I wanted to talk to you. Man to man. I set down my sandwich. About what? About the situation with the loan. Sarah's struggling. I think you know that. I do. I was hoping you might reconsider helping her out. I blinked. Helping her how? By co-signing. Or by lending her the money to settle with the bank. You work in finance. You have resources. I felt heat rise in my chest. Michael, I told Sarah months ago I wouldn't co-sign. Nothing has changed. But now she's in trouble. You care about her, don't you? That's not the point. Then what is the point? His voice hardened. You walked away when she needed you most. Now she's paying for it. I stood up, phone pressed to my ear. She's paying for it because you defaulted on a loan she never should have co-signed. She's paying because you prioritized your failing business over her financial future. My business isn't failing. You closed the second location after 3 months. You're not making loan payments. That's the definition of failing. He was quiet for a moment. Then he said, You don't understand the restaurant industry. I understand debt. And I understand responsibility. You put your daughter in this position. She chose to help me. Because you made her feel like she had no choice. He hung up. March 12th, 2024. Emily called. You need to hear this. What? Michael is telling people you're the reason Sarah's in financial trouble. He's saying you manipulated her into breaking up with you, and now she's dealing with the fallout alone. I felt my blood pressure spike. That's a lie. I know, but he's saying it to family, to mutual friends. Sarah tried to correct him, but he's not listening. What is she saying? That it's not your fault, that you warned her. But Michael is spinning it like you abandoned her. He's trying to shift blame. Yeah, and it's working with some people. I took a breath. Let him. I have texts from Sarah. I have the dates. If he wants to make this public, I'll correct the record. Are you sure? It could get messy. It's already messy. March 18th, 2024. Sarah sent a text from a new number. I need you to know I'm not part of my dad's narrative. He's lying. I told him to stop. He won't. I replied, I know. I'm sorry. For all of it. For the ultimatum. For not listening. For everything. I appreciate that. I also wanted to tell you the bank filed a claim. They're pursuing a judgment. My lawyer says they'll win. My wages will be garnished for the next 5 years. I stared at the screen. She continued, I'm moving back in with my mom. I can't afford my apartment anymore. My credit is destroyed. I can't get approved for anything. I'm sorry, Sarah. I know. A pause. You saved yourself. I wish I'd saved myself too. I didn't respond. Because there was nothing left to say. But the final fallout was still coming. Because when a family enabler collapses, everyone who supported the delusion has to face the truth. April 2nd, 2024. I was checking my email when I saw a LinkedIn message from Sarah's brother, David. I don't know if you're still in touch with Sarah, but I wanted to reach out. Our dad's restaurant filed for bankruptcy again. Chapter 7 this time. It's done. He's closing everything. I read the message twice. I'm sorry it came to this, David continued. I know you tried to warn Sarah. I wish she'd listened. I wrote back. I appreciate you telling me. I hope she's okay. She's not, he replied. But she will be. Eventually. April 15th, 2024. Emily sent me a link to a local news article. The headline read, Queen's restaurant closes after third bankruptcy filing. The article was short. It mentioned Michael by name. It noted the restaurant had been open since 2003. It listed the closure date as April 10th, 2024. What it didn't mention was the $96,000 loan, or Sarah's repossessed car, or the demand letter, or the wage garnishment. But I knew. April 22nd, 2024. I ran into Sarah at a grocery store in Manhattan. I was picking up coffee. She was in the produce section. We made eye contact. She looked thinner, tired. She walked over. Hey, she said. Hey. I wasn't sure if you'd talk to me. I'm not mad at you, Sarah. She nodded. I know, but I wouldn't blame you if you were. We stood in silence for a moment. I heard about the restaurant, I said. Yeah, it's over. Finally. How's your dad? She shook her head. Not great. He's staying with my mom. They're separated, but she didn't want him on the street. And you? I'm managing. My wages are being garnished. $400 a month for the next 5 years. But I have a job. I have a roof over my head. I'll survive. I looked at her. I wish it hadn't gone this way. Me too. She hesitated. I think about that night a lot. At the restaurant. When you walked out. Yeah. I thought you were being selfish. I thought you didn't care about me or my family. She paused. But you weren't being selfish. You were being smart. And I was being blind. You were being loyal. Loyalty isn't supposed to destroy you. I didn't respond. I should have walked away with you, she said. I should have said no to my dad. I should have chosen my future over his mistakes. You can still choose your future now. She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. I'm trying. We said goodbye. She walked toward the checkout. I stayed in the coffee aisle. I didn't see her again after that. May 10th, 2024. I checked Sarah's Instagram one last time. Her bio had changed. It used to say, marketing professional, family first, adventure seeker. Now it read, learning to build better boundaries. Her last post was a photo of a sunset. The caption, some lessons cost more than money. The comments were supportive. Friends offering encouragement. Emily posted a heart emoji. I didn't comment. I didn't like the post. I just closed the app. Because some stories don't end with reconciliation. They end with lessons learned and bridges burned. And sometimes, that's the healthiest ending possible. But this story had one final chapter. Because closure isn't just about what happens to the antagonist. It's about what happens to you. June 2024. I bought a new car. Nothing flashy. A used Mazda with low mileage and a clean title. I paid cash. It felt good to make a financial decision that was entirely mine. No ultimatums. No pressure. No one demanding I prove my love by signing my name on a liability. Just me, a car, and freedom. I thought about Sarah sometimes. Not with anger. Not with regret. Just with a quiet awareness that we'd been incompatible in a way that wasn't obvious until money entered the picture. Love is supposed to make you better. It's supposed to push you toward growth, toward health, toward stability. What Sarah had asked of me wasn't love. It was sacrifice disguised as partnership, and I'd walked away from it. July 2024. I met someone new. Her name was Claire. She worked in education. We met at a friend's barbecue. On our third date, we were talking about family. She mentioned her parents. "My dad's terrible with money," she said, laughing. "He's always got some new business idea. My mom has to keep him grounded." I smiled. "Do they ask you for financial help?" "Sometimes. But I learned early on to set boundaries. I'll help with advice, but I don't co-sign loans or lend large amounts. It's not worth the stress." I felt something click. "That's smart. It's survival," she said. "Family is important, but so is protecting your future." I looked at her across the table. She was smiling, unaware of how much that sentence meant to me. August 2024. I got a message from David, Sarah's brother. "I wanted to give you an update. Sarah's doing better. She got a promotion at work. The wage garnishment is still happening, but she's managing. She's also seeing a therapist, working through the family stuff." "That's good to hear," I wrote back. "She asked me to tell you something," David continued. "She said she's grateful you walked away when you did. She said if you'd co-signed, you'd both be ruined right now." I stared at the message for a long time. "Tell her I'm glad she's okay," I replied. September 2024. I was cleaning out old files when I found the loan application, the one Sarah had slid across the table. I'd taken a photo of it that night, just in case. I looked at the co-signer clause one more time. Co-signer liability. In the event of default, co-signer assumes full responsibility for outstanding balance, accrued interest, and associated fees. If I'd signed that document, I'd be in Sarah's position right now. Car repossessed. Credit destroyed. Wages garnished. I deleted the photo. October 2024. Claire and I were walking through Central Park when she asked, "Do you ever regret big decisions you've made?" I thought about it. Not really. I regret some small things. But the big ones? They usually feel right when I look back. Even if they hurt at the time. Especially if they hurt at the time. She looked at me. "That's a mature answer." I smiled. I learned it the hard way. November 2024. I was sitting in my apartment when my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I almost didn't open it. Then I saw the message. "Jake, it's Sarah? I know we haven't talked in a while. I just wanted to say thank you. For holding your boundary. For walking away. For not letting me drag you into my mistakes. I'm okay now. I hope you are too." I read the message 3 times. Then I wrote back. "I'm glad you're okay. Take care of yourself." She replied with a simple, "You too." I set my phone down and looked out the window. Some relationships end because they're supposed to. Not because anyone is a villain. Not because love wasn't real. But because love without boundaries isn't love at all. It's sacrifice. And I'd learned that some sacrifices aren't worth making. I'd walked away from a $100,000 mistake. And in doing so, I'd walked toward a life where my decisions were my own. Where my credit was clean. My car was mine. My future was protected. That wasn't selfish. That was survival. And sometimes, survival is the most loving thing you can do.